Cats. Some are sane, some are mad, and some are good, and some are bad. Meet magical Mr Mistopheles, sleepy old Deuteronomy, and what about curious rum-tum tugger? But you'll be lucky to meet McCavity, because McCavity's not there. These lovable cat poems were written by T.S. Eliot in his old Possum's Book of Practical Cats for his godchildren and friends in the 30s. They have delighted generations of children and adults since, and inspired Andrew Lloyd Webber's brilliant musical, Cats. The poem I'm reading is about one of those cats, called Gus the Theatre Cat. Gus is the cat at the theatre door. His name, as I ought to have told you before, is really Asparagus, and that's such a fuss to pronounce that we usually call him just Gus. His coat's very shabby, he's thin as a rake, and he suffers from palsy that makes his paw shake. Yet he was, in his youth, quite the smartest of cats, but no longer a terror to mice and to rats. For he isn't the cat that he was in his prime, though his name is quite famous, he says, in its time. And whenever he joins his friends at their club, which takes place at the back of the neighbouring pub, he loves to regale them, if someone else pays, with anecdotes drawn from his palmiest days. For he once was a star of the highest degree. He has acted with Irving, he's acted with Tree, and he likes to relate his success on the halls where the gallery once gave him 7 cat calls. But his grandest creation, as he loves to tell, was Fire Fro Fiddle, the fiend of the fell. Says every possible part, and I used to know 70 speeches by heart. I'd extemporise back chat, I knew how to gag, and I knew how to let the cat out of the bag. I knew how to act with my back and my tail. With an hour of rehearsal, I never could fail. I'd a voice that would soften the hardest of hearts, whether I took the lead or in character parts. I have sat by the bedside of poor little Nell. When the curfew was rung, then I'd swung on the bell. In the pantomime season, I never fell flat, and I once understudied Dick Whittington's cat. But my grandest creation, as history will tell, was Fire Fro Fiddle, the fiend of the fell. Someone will give him a tooth full of gin. He will tell how he once played the part in East Lynne. At a Shakespeare performance he once walked on Pat, when some actor suggested the need for a cat. He once played a tiger, could do it again, which an Indian colonel pursued down a drain. And he thinks that he still can, much better than most, produce blood-curdling noises to bring on the ghost. And he once crossed the stage on a telegraph wire to rescue a child when a house was on fire. And he says, now these kittens, they do not get trained as we did in the days when Victoria reigned. They never get drilled in a regular troop, and they think they are smart just to jump through a hoop. And he'll say, as he scratches himself with his claws, well, the theatre's certainly not what it was. These modern productions are all very well, but there's nothing to equal, from what I hear tell, that moment of mystery when I made history as Fire Fro Fiddle, the fiend of the fell. Sir Noel Coward was an English playwright, composer, director, actor and singer. I have chosen one of his poems titled The Boy Actor. I can remember, the months of November and December were filled for me with peculiar joys, so different from those of other boys, for other boys would be counting the days until end of term and holiday times, but I was acting in Christmas plays, while they were taking the pantomimes. I didn't envy their Eton suits, their children's dances and Christmas trees. My life had wonderful substitutes for such conventional treats as these. I didn't envy their country larks, their organised games in panelled halls, while they made snowmen in stately parks. I was counting the curtain calls. I remember the auditions, the nerve-wracking auditions, darkened auditorium, an empty, dusty stage, little girls in ballet dresses practicing positions, gentlemen with par-nay asking you your age, hopefulness and nervousness struggling within you, dreading that familiar phrase, "Thank you, dear, no more," straining every muscle, every tendon, every sinew to do your dance much better than you'd ever done before. Think of your performance. Never mind the others, never mind the pianist. Talent must prevail. Never mind the baleful eyes of children's mothers glaring from the corners and willing you to fail. I can remember the months of November and December were more significant to me than other months could ever be, for they were the months of high romance with destiny waited on tiptoe, when every door actor stood a chance of getting into a Christmas show. Not for me, the dubious heaven of being some prefect's protege. Not for me, the second 11. For me, 2 performances a day. Ah, those first rehearsals, only very few lines, rushing home to mother, learning them by heart. Enter left, through window, dots to mark the cue lines, exit with the others. Still, it was a part. Opening performance, legs a bit unsteady, dedicated tension shivers down my spine, powder grease and eye black, sticks of makeup ready, Leichner number 3 and number 5 and number 9. World of strange enchantment, magic for a small boy, dreaming of the future, reaching for the crown, rigid in the dressing room, listening for the call boy. Overture beginners, everybody down. I can remember the months of November and December, although climatically cold and damp, meant more to me than Aladdin's lamp. I see myself having got a job waiting on the wings along the Strand, uncertain whether to laugh or sob, and clutching tightly to my mother's hand. I never cared who scored the goal or which side won the silver cup. I never learned to bat or bowl, but I heard the curtain go up.